Thanks for the F Shack. Love Dirty Mike and the boys.
Hey, are you Dirty Mike and the boys? How you know who we are?
What's this big called, the podcast?
Morning good. Oh, I love
Hey, welcome to the Earth. Thanks. Oh, wait, I'll start over.
Welcome to Morning Good.
We're here with Tom Zappia and Liz Glazer.
Hi.
Hello.
And you're talking about not going on stage. Well, I remember my craziest was my first COVID set back.
Oh,
that was like the
yeah.
only time I had no idea how to do stand-up again.
Sure.
I was so confused.
Oh, yeah, I don't even
Yeah,
remember that, really.
I remember mine. Well, first of all, I was doing Zoom like there was no tomorrow.
You doing the Zoom? I didn't do a single Zoom show.
Constant.
What were those?
My wife she made so much fun of me because I literally would have a Zoom, and then there were times that I had a Zoom and then another Zoom right after the Zoom that we would have to do her computer on another table in the house.
Because it
so
was.
that I could, because they were back to back.
Do you say it like an interview, or do you like set up a fake microphone? Like, how does it all work?
So I remember at that time, people who did a bunch of Zooms were very opinionated about like, you have to stand and you have to do a mic.
It's such a funny thing to like put your foot down about.
But it was true. And for me, I actually felt like that time period was really amazing for me in terms of like, I don't know, it kind of like corrected a bunch of crap that I needed correcting on in terms of like my timing and my comfort. Like I don't mean this as a flex. It's like, remember that we're talking about Zoom.
Yeah.
And then you'll remember it's not that much of a flex. But I won not one, but 2 comedy festivals on Zoom.
There we go.
Thank you. And so he doesn't care. And
How many comedy festivals you won?
0.
Yeah.
But she won Boston.
Yeah, on
Yeah.
Zoom. On Zoom.
Legend.
Does it say that in the credits?
No,
when you
I
email clubs,
do,
you're like
'cause
in
people
Zoom.
will
Yeah,
bring me up and say she won the Boston Comedy Festival. I'm like, I won it on Zoom.
Yeah.
Like
That
just
was
so
her
that
credit
we're
when I
clear.
met her.
Yeah, true.
Oh, good-
That's
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, I really don't mean it as a flex. I just mean that what I found interesting was at that time I was having trouble. Not that I don't still, but like being really conversational. That was like a thing for me. Cause I was just like, I don't know, nervous, newer, whatever it was. And like something about Zoom, even when you were muted, people were muted, I was like, oh, I gotta check in that they're like nodding in a specific way or whatever. And like the lag like worked for me. And it sort of did this chiropractic on my timing, I think.
Yeah.
So whatever. But anyway, I would sit with multiple teas on either, like I would do like 4 wild sweet orange tea. Not that I'm sponsored, but like I would be. Tazo. It's very good. It's probably made of pure chemicals. But anyway, so I had like 4 teas. That's how I would get my drinking in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like hydrating.
Yeah.
And I was in socks. I couldn't have been more comfortable. And I think that it really freed me up.
Well, that makes so much sense.
I
Like,
thought so.
Like when the microphone dies or like,
yeah,
and you got to go
right.
acoustic, I feel like I get better at stand. Like if I can
Yeah.
do 1 acoustic show a week, I feel like I get so much better at stand up because
Yeah.
like you're having a conversation
Yeah.
and you realize like, yeah, I have a huge problem with that where like I'm getting better at it, but like so much like you write jokes in such an act for so long.
Yeah.
And then you look at it, you're like, oh, this isn't me. My brother's really good about it. He's like, you're fucking doing such an act up there.
Right. Well, you
Um,
need someone, I think, like your brother, your best friend from childhood, something like that, to be like, you're funny, but whatever that is, like, it's not you.
Totally,
and
yeah.
it makes sense because, like, we're doing an art or a thing, but it's also like, ultimately, it is an art that's based on, like, you at your most you.
Yeah.
You know, like Danny Jollis used to say, stand up is your best self at a party. That's something he used to say. And I thought that was smart. He also says you should stand up in a Zoom, but anyway, no, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I thought that was like a cool definition, you know, working definition or whatever of like what we're doing. But your best self at a party, it would be totally weird if you were at a party and there was a person like performing.
Oh, totally. Yeah,
It's more like, oh, they're holding court and we're all delighted because it's the funniest thing we've ever heard in our lives.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the best case scenario.
Yeah.
But like in terms of, just to bring it back to where we started, like when you're doing so many spots, or at least for me sometimes I'm like, oh, I am a stand-up robot.
Yeah.
And I'm not even really connected to what I'm saying sometimes. So this started because we were talking about taking a week off, which I did. I've talked about this week off so much, and like nobody cares.
No, well,
You were
Like-
talking about a week off last week. I think.
Really?
did
Not
I?
taking off, but like last week, a time on the pod, you were talking about taking time off.
Oh,
Yeah. I was saying I was just too in routine because it's like
Yeah.
I'm in that same like I'm in that boat too. What you know what it is?
Yeah.
I started in a college town,
Okay.
and I'm like I was in a fraternity in college, so I wanted so much to prove that I'm not a giant douche that I changed the way I talked on stage. So I would say things kind of like this, like kind of like
Ah.
weirdly like trying to not sound broy. And I think like
Yeah.
I'm not over the top broy, but it's like I kind of like neutered my voice to a way
Yeah.
that I like started sounding like I was just like I just want these people to like me, and I was like,
Right.
and
Yeah.
it was just really silly, and I like notice it now. I'm like. Because I don't think my sense of humor is always the voice of reason, but I think on
Uh-huh.
stage I often played the voice of reason, which wasn't
Right.
really kind of who I am. But
Yeah.
I'm a lunatic. I went to Philadelphia 2 nights ago.
I saw that. How was that?
Crazy.
I bet.
Crazy. Yeah. It was so funny because it was like we were just like watching the game, and I like 2 spots got canceled, and I had a third, but I was just like, this is probably
Yeah.
not gonna happen. So I was like, I was with my roommate, and we were just drinking a little bit,
Yeah.
and the game's about to end. We're like, dude, could you imagine how crazy Philadelphia is right now? And then we're like,
Uh-huh. Let's go.
yeah, I was like, let's fucking do it. And then
Yeah.
like we looked up, it was $15
Okay.
just to go. And yeah, it was one of those 2 where like I called my
on the bus,
no train.
train,
So it was only an hour and a half.
SEPTA.
Amtrak.
yeah.
Oh, $15 on Amtrak.
Isn't that insane?
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think nobody was going at that time. Like it was like
Wait, what website?
There's Amtrak's. There's certain windows of Amtrak you can get an Amtrak. I took an Amtrak to Philly once for like $22.
Really?
Yeah, you have to get in the right. We have to buy in the right window
From the
though.
Amtrak website?
Yeah.
Oh.
yeah.
But other times it'll be like whatever 180
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
But you have to get it at the
totally.
right time.
Yeah, I just like didn't even think.
Wow.
I always thought Philly was like I've been there multiple times, but I always think it's 4
Yeah.
hours away.
It's
No, it's
not.
close.
It's not, but you just like
Yeah.
think that mentally. So I was like,
Right.
oh, let's just go.
Yeah.
And then we went and we got downtown at like 1-ish, and it was like I'm gonna take this sounds weird. This is me. You know what we're talking about being in our voice? This isn't me. This I found this on
Oh,
the side of the
this-
road.
Okay.
I washed it, and there's something.
Nasty
This is
bastard.
my first day wearing this. I feel like
Oh.
It's actually nice. Why was I on the
It
side
is
of the road?
nice.
that's
Yeah.
what I thought. And, there's no like blood or semen or
Right.
diarrhea on it.
You
Oh
might
my
grow
God.
into it.
That's
Maybe I don't know. I just feel like I'm like. I just see my arm and I'm like,
Yeah.
who the fuck am I? I'm having a real identity crisis in the middle of this.
I didn't notice it as being like off for you.
Yeah, me neither.
No, but like there's
Yeah.
something about
Right,
like
right.
the second I start wearing something that's like remotely fashionable, it freaks me out mentally, and I'm like,
I get that.
yeah, and I'm like, this is not like. There's certain things that I'm like, okay, I can look like nice,
Sure.
but like I don't know, I can't be one of those people that like dresses cool on stage. I don't know.
It is Fashion Week though.
That is true.
Yeah, so it's for that. It's nice.
I should have done a Fashion Week episode. I should have worn some
This is
crazy.
it.
Have some models on it?
This
I'm
is
not
the
fat.
See,
Fashion
that
Week
I could get
episode.
behind because I'm like, this is being ironic. But if the
Sure.
second I start trying to take myself seriously as like
Yeah.
a cool, that was a huge problem with. I got out of a breakup, and then I
okay.
started like losing weight, and I started thinking of myself as like a cute guy.
Yeah.
Now, I've always had.
You are cute.
Thank you, but I appreciate
Yeah.
that. But it was like
So are you.
Thank you.
Okay.
now it means less to me.
No,
But
no, but for different reasons. I've
Yeah.
had that thought about both of you individually.
thank
And
you. That's
she
very
doesn't
Yeah,
like
of
sweet.
course.
guys, so she really knows what she's
Right.
talking about.
No,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and
She's
Tom knows that I'm really
objective.
looking at him because there was a time. I don't remember the tennis player's name,
Oh yeah.
but
Me neither.
I was watching the U.S. Open, and then I texted Tom because there's some guy who looks exactly like Tom. I'll send you the pic if you clip this,
He's a
just so
handsome
that
man.
people can
always
vote.
Send me guys and like you look or tell me you look like this guy, but it's always a guy I'd never heard of.
Yeah,
I get some good ones, and my thing is this: I think I am a handsome man,
yeah,
but that's different than like. There's a difference between like thinking like, oh, I'm an attractive person,
right.
and then thinking I am an attractive, like saying I'm a person who has attractive attributes is different
Yeah.
than like. There's a time period I started losing weight, and I'm like a cute boy, and I'm like, this is
Yeah.
bad for stand. You know, there's like a different
Sure.
thing between like somebody who's like good looking and funny, and
Right.
being like fucking
yeah.
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 There's just something that I
Well, yeah. I mean, I think it's like it's similar to like what you're saying about what you say on stage too. I think there's this level of embodiment of whatever your thing is. And sometimes I think things happen to us. Like you're wearing a shirt and it feels like the shirt's wearing you.
Yeah, totally.
Right?
The shirt is doing this podcast right now.
Yeah, totally. But like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I have any profound point to make.
What are you taking it off for?
It's coming off.
Leave it on.
I like it.
Taking it off.
You look
That's
like a
great.
sex symbol.
I
in it.
mean,
I'm hosting. It's so funny too because like this is such a minor thing,
sure.
but like for me, I'm just like I can't do it.
Yeah, totally. No, and now actually I do kind of see what you mean.
About what?
That now you're more you.
Look at this. My stomach's hanging. This is me.
Sure,
This is, my stomach should
totally.
always be hanging out the bottom of my
right,
shirt.
Yeah,
right. But there is something like really attractive about somebody just like, this is who I am.
Yeah, yeah,
right?
totally,
I mean, that's
yeah.
like the whole thing of like, you know, you spend like middle school trying to be cool and then you realize like, oh, there's no cool.
Mm.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't mean middle school like 6th to 8th grade. I mean like last week when I felt like I was in middle school.
Yeah,
you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Like, because that kind of follows you. So I totally get it. Is what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying.
Yeah, it's like that thing where it's like you can be like you're like I'm not saying I have to have
Yeah.
like mayonnaise on my shirt,
Sure.
but I think there's a middle ground.
it would
between,
help.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. There's a middle ground between that and me wearing like sweet shoes.
Yeah.
Sure.
And some people are the cool shoe guys. Like I
Yeah,
think it's
yeah.
like a thing where, but it's just not me.
I was a sneakerhead for a little while.
Were you?
Yeah, but in like high school.
yeah.
Sneakers are really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing. Okay, I don't know that anyone's ever made these connections. Here I go. Sneakers, cars, right?
Mhm.
Ovs, stickers, erasers. They're all like the same kind of thing. Like where it's like you collect them and like I remember stickers and erasers like I would dream about them.
Really?
And I'm a girl. So like
Really?
maybe there's that. But I really feel like all of those things are kind of like the same where it's like you collect them in order to have this like it's kind of like collecting a rainbow. Like what is it, do you think?
I'll be honest, I have no idea what you're talking about right now.
Like
I'm so
collecting
confused.
stickers,
I get the
collecting
stickers
cars.
thing. I was like more sneakers and hats.
Sneakers. Oh, hats, that's another one.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get. Okay, so they're in the same boat of like things that
Yeah.
people like collect.
Right.
Yeah, and there was a good feel. So mine was like action figures when I was a kid.
Okay, there's that.
but that's kind of like a similar
Sure.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. I think it's probably some aspect of like, there's probably some like cave brain in there where like you're thinking
Yeah.
like these are my things.
Yeah.
So when you get a bunch of your things, but I get what you're saying. It's not like if I had one sneaker and then
Yeah.
one car, that wouldn't mean the same as having a bunch of sneakers. There's a
But
certain
what
like,
is it? What is that thing that it does to our brains that like you want the collection? I don't know.
yeah, you want the different. Like I remember like the
Yeah.
I had
Colors.
the you ever do the Tech dudes, the little thumb guys?
Yeah.
What's that?
They were these little thumbs. So the boards, the Tech boards,
boards.
the little finger boards,
All
like
right.
little skateboards.
Okay.
But they had these characters that were just thumbs.
oh.
I remember those.
Yeah, and they had like a Batman one. They had like
Okay.
all
I
these
don't-
different ones, and I wanted all of them because it was like as a
Right.
kid, just the little like things. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like those
totally.
Funko Pops. Those were big too.
Which
right?
one?
Funko Pops.
Oh yeah. Okay. Sure.
Or the dolls with the long hair. Troll
Right.
dolls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's just, I don't know. I like you want a
Furbies.
collection of something so you can have as many options. Or
I
feel
guess. Yeah.
like in high school, I had the period where it was like I want to wear a different pair of sneakers to school every day. Like
Uh huh.
I don't know. I probably was just like
Right.
thought it was cool.
Yeah.
Hats
Right.
and mine was hats and sneakers, but
Hats and sneakers. Yeah.
but that's also women. The women's shoes, 6 million pairs of shoes.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
I fell off it though. I think it's just a window in your life at a
Yeah.
certain age. Because now I'm like, I haven't bought sneakers in like 2 years.
Do
I
you,
don't
and you
care.
don't care?
No,
Yeah.
I think I just like
interesting.
I need money for other shit. Like I just
Right.
got matured and I need money for other stuff. And I'm like,
But I think
not
it's
gonna
kind of
do
like
this.
being gay. Like it's like if you are feeling it, you're feeling it so hard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it comes from some. I don't mean it.
Oh, we
like
don't
I
know
have
what you
an
mean. We're a
answer.
couple. We're a couple.
No,
We're a couple
but,
super
but
straight
I just
guys.
love
mean
men.
like you don't help it.
Right,
That's
yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean.
yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's definitely a part of the brain that does that. But
Yeah.
and I wonder like where it translates. Maybe it's friends now in my life that I'm collecting. Like I'm trying to figure out what my
yeah.
now thing is that I'm like doing.
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know what mine is.
So
now.
I have a weird one. I don't mean it's like kind of a conversation shutter down, which I say in order that it doesn't do that. But so I have a thing. I don't know if I've ever told you this. Not that I definitely haven't told you, but I don't think I've told you that since about April of 2017, I have found over like 150 to 200 fortunes on the ground. So it's like a fortune from a fortune cookie, but I'll just be like walking and then it's like
wow.
there. It's crazy. And it does make me wonder, like, am I a prophet? Like,
Yeah.
because I'm
That's a
like, did
lot.
That
Moses
is a
feel
lot.
this way? It's so many.
Are you looking for them?
Well, I'm not looking for them,
You
but
just look at the ground a lot.
I will. No, not. That's the thing is like sometimes I will be like, oh, I really am in the mood for one because they're really fun.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
Festive.
I mean,
it's on
it's-
Broadway and 6th.
yeah.
But it's like it's really fun for me for sure. And then sometimes I'm like, ugh, I could really use one
Yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason, like what a turnaround to the day or whatever, and they won't be there because I want it too bad. I think. I mean, I don't know that that's like causal, but
I don't think.
No,
so.
I get that. So I'm in a lot of dead ends in my life right
all
now.
right. Okay,
And so
okay.
fortune cookies, I got one the other day, and I was just
Yeah.
like, please, like I was
Yeah.
like, please say something good's gonna happen.
Yeah,
So
My lucky number.
totally.
yeah, so like I kind of get that, but then I wonder too, like I wonder if you're seeing them because you're thinking about them now.
Of course, yeah. So I've played around
Mm.
with that. The thing is, it's like I don't know,
Yeah.
right? Like the joke version is like, what? I live right outside of a Chinese restaurant, like
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever. But I don't. It has nothing to do with it. And also, it's not like I'm like I found them in so many different places. I used to keep a spreadsheet,
Yeah,
but then I think the link expired, and I journal very obsessively. So like I have all them pictured on my phone. I
Oh,
can like
wow.
find the records of them if I needed to.
Are they mostly just on the street though?
Yeah. Like,
I don't know if I've ever found. Maybe like.
but
Right.
you know
two
what
or
it is
three.
though? It
Yeah.
could be one of those things that like you're seeing more because you're thinking
Yeah.
about it.
there's a German phenomenon. I never remember the name of it. Danner something or another. That's like that.
Yeah,
They're like, you're seeing a red car more because you have it in your head. And I'm open to that.
Yeah.
But also I'm just putting this out there because like I'm a lawyer. It's like, but then wouldn't it also be true that the people who I've told about this would
would
maybe
be seeing
find
them too. Yeah, that's a good
Huh.
point.
Yeah.
Well,
and
and
it
the-
could be.
And the reverse is a thing too. Somebody told me they're like, black guys don't vape, and they're like, think about a black guy you've seen vaping, and I was like,
oh,
I've never
okay.
seen one in my life.
Yeah, I guess.
But
Same.
that's not really. It's only because he's
Uh-huh.
saying a thing that I've never thought about.
Yeah.
So it works the reverse way too, where you're like,
Sure.
you'll never see like a guy from New Jersey who has yellow socks on, and then I'll be like, I
Sure,
guess I
sure.
never have seen that, but I've never thought
Right,
about it.
Right.
But what you're saying makes so much sense because it's like the people you're telling that to
yeah.
would see fortune cookies
I mean,
now.
here's the thing is like, as with most things that are just kind of like fun and cool and maybe mysterious, there's so many ways to like try and like prove why.
Yeah.
And all of them come up short. It's just fun. Like I used to use drugs and alcohol and I don't anymore. It doesn't have to be a big deal. But I don't. But I say this only because the feeling of finding a fortune is like, oh my God, I just like have weed, that's new.
yeah.
Or
yeah.
I just smoked or whatever. Or like I just took some drug.
Right.
Like
yeah.
it's so euphoric. It's so fun. And I don't know why. I don't know why me. I don't know why I find them. I have no idea.
Well, because I think no matter what you believe, you kind of believe in fortune cookies. Like
Yeah.
no matter what, you're
Right.
like I'm pretty agnostic, and like
Yeah.
if somebody were to be like fortune cookies are always accurate, I would start arguing with them. But then when I get one, I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
but like this is probably real.
I mean, I've had a really sad one that was not accurate. That's like always like the sticking point. It's such the thorn. I mean, if the other one wasn't a conversation stopper, this one is, which is that I believe it was the day before my wife had a stillbirth
yeah.
that I found one that said, your wish is about to come true. And I did not wish for that.
yeah, that was I was about to
And-
say.
But that's like, if we're really making the timeline, like that did happen.
right, yeah.
And that was on a suburban street. I was taking a walk. Like I live in the suburbs. Like there's
Yeah.
not, I mean, people take out their garbage, but like it's not a place that's like there's not
a
litter.
lot of fortune cookies.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was just walking down the street and then there we are. Crazy.
Yeah, because
So-
that just doesn't. It's the opposite of what you're wishing
Oh,
for. So it makes
100% it
sense.
was.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I don't know. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying. It's like I can just give the data, and that is what I collect probably more than anything is data. Or
Yeah.
our data, because data are plural. But like,
But you want it too, though.
Yeah.
This is the point too, though,
Uh-huh.
because that fortune cookie wasn't given to you.
sure.
So maybe that's what the truth of fortune
Yeah,
cookies is. It's for the
maybe.
people who actually like
Could
broke
be.
it.
But I also feel like it's so me because like I just found it. Like I really feel like I'm like Joseph Smith or
Yeah.
whatever, like
Yeah.
a person who's being spoken to in that moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like, well, what am I supposed to, and I'm always so appreciative, which makes me think that like it is God.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I am a God believer, like not to make it weird, and I don't have pamphlets or whatever, but like again, it's like being gay. Like I don't know where it comes from. I just am into believing.
Right.
Fine.
Right.
Who cares? But in that moment, I do have the thought of like, well, I guess like Moses probably was like, it's kind of weird, but like I get these messages.
Yeah.
Right? Like or maybe he wasn't and he was like really cocky about it. And I'm not trying to start a religion
Right.
of fortune cooking. Like I'm
That is
not.
yeah. Well, I think it's like you like, I don't know. I think it makes sense that like you feel like, because I'm a very agnostic person,
Yeah.
but like everything I'll feel like is a message to me.
Oh my
still.
God, same.
Yeah.
You have to be literally nobody in my life, and I'll be like, you're probably God.
Yeah.
Are you saying this to me? I will believe it. I will adopt it as my new philosophy.
Yeah.
I love that stuff. I'm always looking for messages.
Well, we're also talking about like I'm very agnostic, but
Yeah.
nothing's more fascinating to me than religion. I love it.
Yeah.
It's so interesting to me.
Right.
And like everything like that is interesting. For some reason, the horoscopes, I just can't even. I won't even
Yeah.
budge on them. I'm like a very open-minded person. Horoscopes, I'm fucking so closed-minded on.
Sure.
I can't get my
Are
brain
you
to.
into them?
No,
Horoscopes?
is that like the whatever month you're born?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, not really.
Yeah.
But like anything else, somebody could be like, "What if God is like a lizard?" And I'm
Yeah.
like maybe. But then somebody's
Yeah.
like, "What if because you're born this month?" I'm like, "Shut the fuck up!" And
I'm
I'm
big on
immediately
also-
out like,
I'm
I
big on
think- yeah.
conspiracies though.
Oh, you are.
Not
yeah,
like
yeah,
not
right.
like not even so much conspiracies. I'm big on just unsolved stuff.
Sure.
"Yeah,
I like
That's fun.
I like that it's unsolved because then we
Yeah.
could leave it up for conspiracy theories.
Right.
yeah,
Well, also like conspiracy theory, like I am a very impressionable person. I am. Like it's like anyone could tell me anything. I'm like, I think this incel has a point. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
anybody.
yeah.
And so conspiracy theories similarly. Because I think you asked me once if I was like into any conspiracy theories.
Yeah,
I was
because I was
like-
gonna ask. I was doing
Oh,
a
yeah.
podcast where I would
Right.
have comics on and they'd pitch me the conspiracy
But
theories.
I was like, I mean, any of them. And you're like, yeah, I need like one or whatever. But
Yeah.
but that's the thing is like anyone, I will read any opinion piece and be like, I mean, these are great points.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And
like that
then-
too.
yeah.
but I won't. I wanted it to do it that way, where someone comes on with a specific one they're
Right.
passionate about.
That makes
they actually think
sense.
is true because I'm not set on anything.
Yeah.
But if you could, you could probably persuade me. So like when I
Right.
watch like I listen to this podcast and they talk about unsolved like mystery cases.
Okay.
And then like the last 10, 15 minutes they talk about the possible explanations and the conspiracy theories.
Oh, yeah.
And that's the only part that I'm like really into. Like because I
Yeah.
want to know, and they'll be like, this could happen because of this and that could happen because of that. And then it's like
Right.
5 different things could happen. And I'm like, that's what I want to know about. But if you can
Okay, here's
defend it for me,
one.
I'd probably believe you.
Here's the most random one that I can think of. And it's like literally nobody cares, including the people about whom it is. So like my ex-fiance's ex-boyfriend is a musician and he was somewhere performing with a band that he's not in anymore. They had one song. The song sucked, but there was like a kind of piano solo that was amazing. And like I've like played it. I don't even think it's on Spotify anymore. The piano solo, I've been stopped in traffic. And people are like, what
What
song
is
is
that?
that?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it's so good. And then there was an Usher song. And I guess like Usher sort of maybe passed through the party or something. And the Usher song, it's give me everything tonight.
It's Neo.
Right. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay. So him.
Yeah.
Okay. It was somebody who was like there, I think. And it sounded the same.
Yeah.
So my conspiracy theory is that that guy was there and maybe took the song. But
Yeah.
like literally nobody else is saying it.
I'll think that about fucking jokes. I'll
Oh,
do a
yeah.
joke and then like
Right.
I have like a joke where a
Yeah.
TV show kind of did the joke.
Sure.
And I'm like, you were at the fucking Grizzly Pear 8 o'clock, that writer, you fucking bitch. And then
Yeah.
it's like, yeah. But it is such a hard thing, especially if it's
Sure.
your idea. And then
Yeah.
you're like, wait, how the fuck did like
But I never even think about it for my thing. I'm just like this one song, and like it's like that guy definitely does not want me advocating for this conspiracy theory or
but
anything about him.
please attack Neo. Please
Yeah,
like attack
totally.
him online.
Like
and
it's
be
like nobody
you're full of
cares.
shit. You're a fucking thief. Yeah.
hysterical.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always funny too. There's always like something concerning about having somebody argue for you.
Oh, yeah.
because you're like, no, just chill. Like, but
Right.
like sometimes you have that person that's just like,
Totally.
no, you deserve to be
Right.
defended, and then you're like, no,
And
easy.
then you end up
easy.
being wrong.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Sure. Yeah. And like it's like I can always be wrong. So I have no idea. But anyway.
I'm the most people would be jump the gun on like joke stealing or whatever, and then I'm
Yeah.
always like, there's 6 bajillion comics. 2
Yeah.
people could have came up with that idea.
for
Like,
sure.
Everything
yeah.
gets talked about. I always give the person the benefit of the doubt in any
Me too.
situation. We were talking
Yeah.
about that last week. Like if I think this guy's gonna murder me because he's walking at me with a knife, I'm gonna be like, he's probably going to make a dinner. Or
I
something
know.
like that, you know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Like I'm that guy.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's like the joke thing's so weird because it's like
hmm
if it's like there are like the word for word ones where you're like, okay, this is probably stolen. Or, you know what it is?
Yeah.
It all depends on if I like the person or not.
Sure.
course.
If I don't like the comic, I'm like, you fucking joke thief. But
Yeah.
if I do
Sure.
like
Yeah.
the comic, I'll like immediately be like, there's no way they could do word for word.
Right.
Right.
A Chris Rock hour, and I'll be like, I don't know. I think they probably just had similar thoughts.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, I
get
think I'm
that.
like pretty. I don't know. I'm very biased at first glance. Like if I
Uh-huh.
like, not. I mean, I think it just as much as anybody else, but like then I think it's very easy. I'm very biased at first glance, and then you know what I am when everybody dogpiles on somebody, that's when I get weirdly on their side.
Oh, sure.
Like I think it's
Yeah.
one of those things that like, especially like celebrities, like when if
Right.
everybody starts shitting on one celebrity, I'm like, hey.
Yeah.
But if everybody starts liking us, I'm kind of a hipster, but like not. I think I'm a
Yeah.
contrarian douche in
Yeah.
a lot of ways. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's who your stage persona should be.
It kind of is. There's just like I'll argue some dumb thing. That's just
Uh-huh.
not a good point. But I'm
Right.
like, no, I think this is what it is.
I'll
Right.
do that sometimes. Yeah.
But-
yeah, me too.
Especially if it's funny. If it's funnier than the other side, I think.
Sure.
Yeah, because a lot of times somebody's just arguing something that like everybody
No.
is like, yeah, of course, but it's funnier to argue the silly
Yeah,
idea.
Yeah.
But I like as far as conspiracies, I don't know. I thought this one recently. What if Donald Trump is
Okay.
all a psyop to make people want like normal presidents who are doing darker things behind the scenes? Because like okay, like
Yeah.
the last like obviously like Obama did some sketchy stuff, George Bush did some sketchy
Sure.
stuff, but they were like statesmen and they were like
Right.
good
right.
representatives. And then people started questioning them. Were like, oh, they have a smile on their face, but they're secretly doing all this.
Yeah.
And then Trump does like the opposite, where he's like just crazy and he's like,
yeah.
so like, I had a weird theory. I was like, what if the government purposely was like, we're gonna empower somebody that is just so wild, and then eventually we're like, we just want somebody who is not.
A sneak.
Yeah. So they're not
Yeah.
asking like these kind of questions.
Yeah. I mean, see, now you've presented that and it's my new theory.
Yeah.
Like, I believe it.
Yeah.
You know, that's, yeah.
Well, I think. Well, he's the only. The thing is with Trump is he's the only guy who's ever been like this. Like every other
Right.
president's pretty much the same. Of like straight lace, kind of like
Yeah.
say the right stuff, do whatever.
Yeah.
And he's like purposely the contrarian, so he can like
right.
shuffle up the system, or whatever. That's why people like him. But as soon as I saw like the him and like Obama like laughing and joking at the Jimmy Carter
Oh,
thing,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
like
yeah.
dumb Bush comes in and like fist bumps him, I'm like, I
Sure.
don't care about anybody.
I
Like I
know.
don't understand how you
It's
can
hard. Yeah.
like put yourself into one side so heavily when none of them get like they're all the same essentially.
Yeah.
Like Trump is the most different, but he's still of the president. Like he has to inevitably do some stuff that like other presidents have done that is sketchy
Sure.
or whatever.
You know what's
It's
the
just how it
craziest
works.
thing too? It's
Yeah.
like, obviously I don't like Donald Trump. I've never voted for him, but.
Right.
It's
I have.
interesting how much smarter he probably is than me. Like all of us don't like him, but we think of him. We're like, oh, he's just this babbling it. We're like, he has to know so much more shit.
Sure.
It's about different shit.
I think everyone's smarter than me.
Plus,
Like, literally.
Plus, he's a
everyone.
billionaire. Even if he did his shit illegally, like you have to cut corners to get. So, like, look at
Sure.
Zuckerberg. The guy like ended like 4 people's lives, like and, like stole stuff from them
Yeah.
to become what he is. Like you
I
have to.
love the new like
The new
like
Zuckerberg?
the new Flex Boy Zuckerberg with his he's got the haircut. He's
He
wearing
looks like my
shades.
DJ cousin.
I know. It's
Why
so
do you
awesome.
look like this?
Yeah.
But I think you have to, if you're gonna to get to a certain height of power, you have to like do some sketchy
Right.
stuff.
Sure.
I mean,
yeah,
Who do you
I
think's the
think-
not.
Forrest Gump though? Like, do you think there's somebody who's just kind of been like a dumbass and navigated their way to like? I
Maybe
wonder.
Trump, because when he beat Hillary, you could see him be like, "Oh wow!" Like he just like
Huh.
I think he was just doing it to prove like he's such a psychopath that he's like, I could become the president. Like
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
that much of a narcissist.
Yeah.
And then he actually did it, and it's like, oh wow, like
Yeah.
I had no you had no idea. Like I could see it
Right.
being him.
Well, they had a whole South Park about that. It was so funny. It was
Yeah.
like because Mr. Garrison was like playing like the Trump character, and then he starts freaking out when he gets the presidency. He's like, "Fuck! I just did it to piss people off. He's like,
Right.
now I gotta actually."
Trump, I think though, like partially that, but also I think he wanted to be the president.
Yeah.
Like he doesn't give a fuck.
Well, money's probably like not even that appealing to him anymore because he's
Nah.
gone that far. So it's like
Plus, you
power.
don't make money if you're the. I mean, you make like 400 grand, but like
He can
he
be
coming
making more
from-
money as not the president.
Yeah, as a
than
real
he can as
estate.
president. Yeah. Well, my favorite. There's one comic who had some joke like this. They're like, I love their politics. I think they're all trying their best. It was just a funny.
They're
it was
being
just-
serious.
No, they were kidding, but it was just such a
Yeah.
funny take.
Great
Just be
joke.
like, I would love to start arguing that in conversation. Just like,
Sure.
whenever somebody's like, "This is my favorite," or "I hate this person," be like, "I think they're trying really hard."
No, you know how people say like you have to, if you're a comedian, they have to be a little nuts or a little
Yeah.
narcissist or
Yeah,
a little
yeah. Sure.
something is off
Right.
in your childhood or in general. The same
Right.
goes for if you're trying to be. I say any political, but definitely if you're trying to be running for president.
Yeah. I think there's like, but
Hmm. I do take issue a little bit with that. Not to say that there's not something
I do too.
off
I do
with
too.
me, but I just wonder because it's like I think there's something really healthy about expressing yourself. And so the idea that there has to be this like terrible thing wrong with someone or that it's like about the attention or whatever.
No, because there's tons of comics that I'm pretty like you could just tell like there's not like
Yeah.
like or you say like, oh, your parents divorced, oh, that's why you're a comic. Oh, your parents
Right.
didn't pay attention to you, that's why you're a comic. Your brother died, that's why you're a comic. I'm just like,
Yeah.
there's plenty of comics who just had fine like normal lives with
Right.
everything. I think.
well, that's what I have a question for you guys because you guys
Yeah.
are because I am the example of like I am a giant attention whore.
Okay.
I love attention.
You're like Steve-O.
Okay.
Yes, I'm like Steve-O. I mean, I
Okay.
climbed a fucking flag or a stop
you
sign.
did.
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
I love being the center of attention.
Right.
I am a narcissist.
Okay.
But I wonder, like, I wonder what the other side of it, because you guys are both kind of quieter people. What is it
Yeah.
like being like, is stand up like what is that? Because like you're still getting validation. Because like there's some comics I know that are like completely do not like social interaction, but they like stand up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what
I'd
is
say
that?
That's most of them.
So like, what do you like? What do you?
Stigma.
I'll
Yeah.
ask both of you. Like, what do you like as far as like attention outside of comedy? So you go up to a bar and everybody is like, Tom Zappia's here. We're all clapping. Do you like that or do you not
No, I
like
hate
that?
it.
Me too.
Really?
I hate it.
But I've been trying to figure that out because then my
Yeah.
friends will be like, "Well, why do you do comedy, you fucking narcissist pussy?"
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, "I actually don't really know.
Yeah.
Like, I have no, and then my answer is always like, I actually just love making people laugh, which is the gayest answers. No, you know.
yeah.
Um,
I mean, I'm gay.
yeah, I know.
So-
But like, it's like I actually don't even love the attention. I just like
Yeah.
the fact that someone thinks I'm entertaining. Like that's it.
Yeah.
Like I don't care that they think.
Why'd you do it when you first started?
I don't know. Just because like
well, what happened?
I just thought like it was like the thing where it's like I think I'm kind of funny like in
Right.
school and shit.
Okay.
And then I just realized that you could like just go do it. And then I was just
Right.
like, but it
Sure.
was mostly like the person that made me do it was not literally, but Pete Davidson because
Yeah.
I
He
saw-
made you do it?
No, I
I'm going to
didn't-
fucking kill you if you don't do stand up
No,
comedy.
but he's like just like a dumb young schlub when he started, and when he
Yeah.
was, or not even when he started, when he was getting famous.
Yeah.
I'm just like, who the fuck is this guy?
Right.
Yeah.
And then that made me realize that I could do it because like he was like I think he's like my age or younger.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
And-
like Nick Swartzen for me because I saw Seinfeld and I didn't relate to it at all. I was like, who's
Okay.
this nerd
Me
in a
too.
suit?
Yeah. Yeah.
And he was like, oh, I'm a nerd. And I'm like, I don't really like this. And then Nick Swartz was wearing a T-shirt talking about diarrhea. And I was like, that's stand-up?
Yeah, yeah.
I was like, oh, that
Ah.
could...
Yeah, I used to think that every comic. I was so dumb, literally until I started. I thought you had to be like Seinfeld.
Uh-huh.
I didn't know you could like tell story. I thought
There's
you
like a
had to-
uniform. You have to wear your
Dude, I
comedy
thought you
uniform.
had to do setup, punch. I
Yeah.
thought you had to like look
Right.
presentable. I was like,
Yeah.
I did not. Yeah, and then I would see guys like, the guys that would make me like most like, oh, it's kind of like, and then I saw Burr.
Yeah.
He's always angry, and I'm kind of like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this guy is like, you could just like bullshit, really.
Yeah.
Like he has, obviously Burr has bits, but like he gets to him way differently than like a Seinfeld, where it's like he toes you into a point of view and then explains it in a very like usually annoyed or angry way.
Right.
And that's how I was when I started. I mean, I'm still like that, but
yeah.
you know, like I didn't understand Seinfeld, I didn't understand Cosby, I didn't understand like the kind of like the straight laced guys.
Yeah. I mean, for me, I really had no intention of doing it at all, and I was teaching law. I knew I wanted to be at the front of the room, and I think like I remember I had a professor when I was in college, and she was sort of like Oprah-esque, I guess, and I was like, I want to do that, and I loved Oprah. I still love Oprah. Okay, like. Really, she should be president, in my opinion.
I don't know enough about her.
I don't either. I just love her. But anyway, so I knew I wanted to be at the front of the room. Why? I'm not 100% sure, but it just was like pulling at me. And I was always like holding court, like, you know, at a party, going back to that, whatever. And then I did become a professor, and that's what I was doing for like 9 years. And then I noticed that I was funny in class. I definitely like noticed that. Like I would like, you know, I didn't know from stand up, but when I started doing stand up, I'm like, this is like property class. Like, you know, but basically for me, the attraction was, oh, I can just be honest. Like not like I was lying before, but I had to cover certain stuff because of school. And like when I was on stage for stand up, like there was no requirements, you know? And so for me, what's been tricky, and this is like something that in the Zoom era kind of, you know, reset a little bit, was as I got better at comedy, I also got worse, which is to say that I got better at like writing for the purpose of what it is, like set up punch or whatever. Like, okay, they have to laugh here, but I got worse at like speaking from just me.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Because you're like, that makes so much sense. Because when you're first doing stand-up, you're like, what's the funniest thing I could say?
Yeah.
I don't have any tools. I need to say the funniest thing I could say.
Right. And then you get the tools, but then you're all tools and no you.
Yeah.
Or, you know, obviously not 100%, but like whatever. So, and I still feel that way too. I don't mean it like, oh, and then Zoom happened and the pandemic and then I was fixed and, you know, whatever. Like there's like certain things that I'm like, wow, that joke really took off, and I don't really, it's not the most me thing I could think to say.
Right.
You know, but it has elements of it here or there. What?
I have that every joke I've ever done.
Really?
I'm like, I don't even know if just because it's different. It's always different being funny. Being funny with your friends versus being funny on stage, because you kind of have to do the tool thing.
Yeah.
You have to laugh at the punchline.
Right.
But like in friends or like school, it's just kind of just like, you blurt something out or you say something at the right time. That's kind of funny.
Yeah.
But like, I have some of my like best jokes where I'm like, I wonder if I didn't have stand-up tools, if I would ever have said something like that.
Yeah.
Probably not.
I relate. And I think like for me, my desire still is to like get back to like the thing I would blurt out and the thing I would say on stage should like get closer to each other. Like that's the kind of unity that I'm aiming for, I guess. And I think like, you know, I mean, not to be like so meta and self-referential, but like podcasting helps with that, because then it's like, okay, you're like talking.
Yeah.
And I've said things on podcasts and I'm like, oh, that's exactly how I mean it.
Yes.
And I've been like kind of, you know, running around this theme for like 5 years, you know. I mean, sometimes it's like a deep thing, like talking about my dad or, you know, something like that, where I'm like, I haven't been able to like nail it. And then I'll just like be talking to a friend on a podcast. I'm like, that's it. And I was working so hard, and really it's like the thing with everything, like it's like those finger trap things, right? Like where it's like, if you go really hard at trying to pull them apart, it doesn't work. But then if you're gentle and you let it happen, you can, you know, solve the puzzle.
Yeah, well, that's why like I don't want to overanalyze my set. It's like you're writing, it's like good to like obviously be like, oh, I could make this better. I'll listen back to sets.
Yeah.
But if I just try to correct the things, it's not gonna. I just gotta like do the thing. I wish I had less fucking fear than I mean, everybody does, but it's like
some people don't.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really amazing. Like, and I feel like I had so much less of it when I started.
Yeah.
You know? And then like the stakes get higher, you have more of it. And not in every situation, but just like sometimes, you know?
Oh, totally. That's the funny part too. It's like
yeah.
me getting into clubs makes me
Yeah.
now feel like I have more to lose instead
Yep.
of where it should go the other
Oh,
way. It should be
totally.
like, oh,
Oh,
this
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But it's like, and it's so silly because it's like, Ralphie May brought up such a good point. Is the first time
Okay.
you do stand up,
Ah,
you
okay.
have 5 new minutes of material.
Right.
There's not often now where you'll do 5 minutes of completely new material.
Sure.
Like
yeah,
you-
and it should be easier for you to get it, as I have that issue every time.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially because I run a weekly. I'm like, I should have 5 new every single Saturday, and I
Uh-huh.
fucking never do.
yeah.
Do you ever like, because I started doing this, so I bring it up because of that. But do you ever like do writing with people? Because
No.
I do that now. I do it. My friend, he's great. His name is Charlie Nadler. Shout out. He's a really
Friend of the
funny
show,
guy.
actually.
Oh yeah.
No.
Oh, okay. He should be. He's great.
Yeah.
He lives in like near Connecticut and whatever, but he's awesome. Anyway, and we write on Zoom weekly, and he's just like a guy. I knew him from shows. We just kind of like, well, maybe this would be like fun, and then it was like really productive, and like I don't know why. I don't mean this as a dig at him. He's awesome, but it's like I don't know, you take a chance on like maybe the chemistry will be just right with me and this other person where we'll be our funniest selves when we're like presenting a new thing to each other.
Mhm.
And like it is the case. And so I'll be like saying a thing. I'm like, here's this thing. And a lot of times I'm like, because we just go back and forth. We time it for an hour. You do one, I do one, you do, you know, whatever. And then it's like a lot of times I'm like, I did not even bring that up as a bit. I just didn't have anything. And that was my next like note on my phone.
Yeah.
And then it becomes one.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so I don't know. I just offer that in case it's like helpful.
Yeah,
No, I think that definitely does help. I think it's like, for me, I think it's the opposite though. My faults or my old jokes are my traps where I go
yeah,
like,
same.
where I go like, oh, okay, I just do this. But
Right.
then now I've got a point where I don't have the fucking enthusiasm for it. I go on stage and I
Yeah.
do it,
Yeah, same.
and it's now doing bad, and I know I go through the same thing where I go, okay, do I have enough enthusiasm for the joke? It's probably not gonna do it because
Ah.
you didn't really care about it. Okay,
Yeah,
and then I
yeah.
get the new thing and I'm excited about it,
Right.
but I'm scared a little bit, and I'm
Yeah.
like,
Which can be good.
it can be good, yeah, but I think it's
Yeah.
also like one of these things where it's like I know what's holding me back on stage. I know it's fear, and I know it's like I
Yeah.
need to like just go. It's so funny too because like my level of like, I'll be like, oh, I feel like I didn't take any chances up there. People are like, what are you talking about pedophiles for 3 minutes? I'm like, yeah,
Right.
but like I didn't say what I really
Yeah.
thought, and like I kind of
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, I
it's
get
still,
that.
but it's like I don't know, my thing is like I'm like, yeah, I just wish I could like,
Right.
but every show I'm like, it's the problem is this. I do a lot of unpaid shows.
Yeah.
At that aspect, it's really fucking stupid for me to care about doing new material.
Sure,
Because I'm
I
not getting paid.
understand.
So I should be like, I'm
Yeah.
doing new stuff.
Oh,
Maybe not
Yeah.
a full new 10, but like
Right.
I don't have to, yeah.
Right. I get that.
Yeah. Because like where are you gonna do it? It's you know what I mean? It's like
Mhm.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But and then it just keeps happening. I keep
Okay.
getting more frustrated at myself because I keep
Sure.
not doing the new joke or
Yeah.
like telling it in a way that I'm like a little bit like nervous, and I've never been mad at myself for putting my feet on the ground and trying something.
Bingo.
Yeah.
I know.
And taking a
Same.
chance, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just have I can never write a joke, like
Yeah.
set up, punch, whatever, if I'm sitting down and trying.
Yeah.
So I'll be like, here's like an idea or something I saw.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go up and do it on stage with the confidence that it's funny, but there's no stand up tools where it's actually
Yeah.
a joke. It's me just blabbering about
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
They don't laugh, and I'm like, oh shit. And then I just like, I'm like, now, but like, how the fuck am I going to turn this into something?
Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll resort back to like, so I'll be bombing mid set, and then I'll resort back to like a 6-year-old joke that I know is going to work
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I don't know what to do.
Yeah, I've definitely had that. I mean, another thing that I'll sometimes do is like, you know, there are people like you mentioned, Bill Burr, but who are like in your kind of voice house,
Yeah.
right? And like I'll watch other people stand up to remember different ways of joke construction.
Yeah.
And
Mm.
then I find like I really love Lisa Traeger's stand up. I think she's so funny. And her special that dropped like a week ago, I think I've watched
see it.
it.
The name is familiar. What does she look like again?
She's
Brunette.
brunette.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just not. It's
Short.
ringing a bell, but not ringing a bell. I'm sure if I
She's
saw
here.
it.
I don't,
Yeah,
is she
she's
in LA
in New York.
or she's here? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I get her
and
mixed up with Gina Brion sometimes. They kind of they have like a
Oh.
similar vibe.
I used to get her mixed up with Jenny Zagrino. But anyway, yeah. But so her special, I really love her special so much. And like, I haven't been this excited about a stand-up special in 10 years, literally. And like, it almost is like embarrassing to me because like desire is the most like shameful thing for me. I'm like, oh God. Like whenever I like someone's Facebook page and then they're like, you got a badge. And I'm like, please don't tell them. It's terrifying. But anyway, so I've watched it over 5 times. It came out like not even a week ago, I think.
Wow.
And the thing that I love about it, other than like it's great, is like it's just so surprising to me the way that she's able to take like extra details of stories and just say them in such a way that they are the punchline. And I'm like, oh my God, that's like revolutionary. And like, you know, there's so many different types of joke structure. And like she just seems like she's just having just the best like wave set and she's surfing it. And I have found that watching her special, then I'll start thinking of like my own stuff and I'm like, oh, I could do it that way or that, you know what I mean?
Right.
And so I don't know, like that's been
What
helpful.
a good way, because like I watch like I see like a good stand-up special sometimes.
Yeah.
I go 2 ways. I go
Right.
like
Yeah.
or I'll go like I watched like a Louis special recently and it was like the most I was like holy fuck. I was like falling apart emotionally because I was like what I'm doing is so far from this.
Sure.
That I was like it was just crazy. But that's so nice to be able to like, oh, I could do it that way. But you know what it is? Live stand-up will do that for me. Because sometimes I see it live, it's more like relatable to me.
Sure.
In a sense that I'm like, okay, I'm gonna perform in the same room. So seeing somebody do something in that same room, I'm like,
well, for what it's worth, it is shot at a club, and I think that one of the strengths of the special for me was that it feels like you're just at a club watching somebody you kind of know. And in this case, I mean, we're not friends, but like I know, you know, we've been on like a show or 2 together. Like we've definitely spoken in my life. But I think like I guess it is like a healthy way. I don't know why. I don't react that way to every stand-up special that I think is good or whatever. But just like something about it where I was like, oh my God, like it's aspirational to me, but also I feel like I could take certain stories, for example, that I've been wanting to figure out how to put them on stage. I feel like the main kind of nugget, like main insight for me is that some of the stuff, it kind of was like she has this bit about bad drivers and good drivers. And the way that she frames it is she's like, who's a bad driver claps, who's a good driver claps, or reverse, whatever. She's
it
like,
sounded like it was going to go racist or sexist for a second. They're like, who's
Yeah.
bad at driving?
Yeah. But anyway, so like the good drivers, whatever, she's like, this is for the bad drivers. And then she like reveals, she's like, I'm a bad driver. Here's the thing. Like, we know what we've done. And then it's like this thing about like a bit about good driver, bad driver. Fine. But the story of what happened comes out because she's like, listen, we know what we've done. We're in a highway median. Like, and then it's like, oh, now this is like, it could have been, hey, let me tell you the story about this one time that I crashed into a highway median and this like bitch in the next car was like looking me up and down. And I'm like, why? Right. And then she ends the bit as like, I'm just a girl in the right lane trying to make a left. And it's like, that's hilarious because like it clearly comes from a specific moment. Right. And then she's like, I thought it was like a little fun lane, but it was a school drop off and like whatever. And it's like, it could have been framed as like, let me tell you the story of this one time. And some of the other parts of the special are that way. But like, what a wonderful tool to be able to take story details and like pepper them in a bit. Right. And like,
it's like a hybrid of a story and an observation.
And to me, it just struck me as like a revolution and a revelation. Cause I was like, I don't know. I feel like I have, you know, so many things that, I mean, I'm 45 years old. I'll be 46 in the summer. Like a lot of stuff has happened to me. And I sometimes don't know how to bring it all in. And I would say that that's like a big anxiety of mine. And sometimes I'll like be like, okay, well, I guess this happened. And it's like, yeah, maybe it can do well, but I'm like, but what's it about? You know? And I don't know the answer to that. And not like that solves it, watching one special, even a great one. But I think that it like kind of jogs my brain in such a way where I'm like, okay, like what do I mean by this? Like
Right.
when I think about when I got mugged at gunpoint in 2018, like what was that moment for me?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And it could be a lot of things and it could depend on the situation. And I don't even know the answer yet, but like, it's just like sometimes, I mean, in 2018, I was still doing stand up or I was doing stand up already. And like, I got mugged like in June. The next 6 months, all I was talking about on stage was getting mugged.
Yeah.
But like now it doesn't feel as current to me, but I'm like, I still think it's like a good story.
Yeah, it's a great story.
Right?
Yeah.
But it's like, how do you know what to do with those things? And I think it's an open question. It depends on a million factors, but yeah.
Well, so much of it, I think that's a perfect example where you tell a friend the story and they're like, that's what's good. Because you don't know what's
Right.
good because the parts that matter to you aren't the parts that matter to other people. Every time I tell
Totally.
somebody a fucking story, they're like, that's it. I'm like, that's it? And they're like,
Yeah.
that's it. And you're like, okay, I guess that is. And you
Right.
start to see, like, oh, I guess that is interesting because of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have
Totally.
like sort of the opposite problem where like I'm fucking 28,
Uh-huh.
so my life is just sex and drinking, and I'm like, I don't have I have some like adventures, like
Yeah.
I've traveled, I've been to Haiti, I've done things, but like
Philly.
yeah, Philly, yeah. It's like it's hard for me to like pull from stuff.
Yeah.
It's like hard for
Oh,
me to like
yeah.
figure out because like, you look at your acting, you're like, oh, there's a lot of this, a lot of that, but
Right,
it's hard
right.
because you want to talk about what's happening currently,
Yeah.
and it's like I don't know, it's like. Yeah, it's a weird balance with that, but I think it's also like a thing too, where it's like I think I'm in a hard part where I think I'm definitely because I'm like 7.5 years in,
Okay.
so I'm getting to that really insecure part where
Yeah.
it's like you first start doing stand up, everybody's like, "That's so cool and fun,"
Sure,
and then you're
sure.
just getting that part where you're starting to like worry about what other people think about where you're
Yeah.
at.
Right.
So I think like because of that, I'm like over putting way too much stress on myself. I'm like,
Yeah.
why is like what you should be doing this well or you should be doing that.
Right.
So it's
yeah,
becoming a
that's-
thing where
You're just talking about where I am because I'm probably like a year or two ahead of you. So
yeah.
um,
I just start going like, I can't imagine if I was 8.5 years ahead. I don't want to fucking kill myself.
about to
Yeah.
quit for the 4th time.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
then there you go. Then you haven't been doing that. If you've quit a bunch of times, then you
no,
add that.
I haven't.
You
the
add that
only
to the
time I
end.
was very basically did quit was COVID,
Yeah.
and then I just didn't go up for like 8 months,
Right.
and then.
But that's
when
like,
I was on Zoom.
yeah.
But I didn't
that
even.
was-
But people who I didn't even do the Zoom or like the
Yeah.
outdoor shows or nothing. I was just like, this is pointless.
Yeah.
Also, like just doing open mics before that, so it's like,
Sure.
what was I really doing? I had
Right,
that like
right.
mindset.
I would do open mics on Zoom. I was unstoppable on Zoom.
Damn.
Like not to say like good. I just mean like committed.
yeah.
I got like no. I just also like I don't know, but I'm like that too, where I'm like
Yeah.
I can't come up with. I'm always anything that's ever been a pretty decent is like I feel like something that has happened to me or like
Yeah.
experience or. 'Cause I like to do topical stuff too, and I used to do. My thing is I used to do way more topical when I was starting,
Okay.
and now I do more personal.
Yeah.
So I assume that comes with the growth, and I have more going on in my life. Obviously,
Sure.
since I'm like 8 years older.
Yeah.
Or I'm like, talking about family, talking about girlfriend, whatever else. But then I'll like see something that I'm like, this is so interesting or fascinating, whether it's topical, it's a news story, nothing that happened to me. I'm like, there's got to be something here, and I'll try to come up with a bit for that specific thing, and I can't come up with shit.
That's how I feel
And I
about
feel
like
like it's them-
orangutans.
Orangutans?
I love orangutans, and I have like no
Oh.
material on orangutans. I'm like, this is I don't know if I heard somebody talking about like I love bits about animals or like dreams,
Yeah,
or
sometimes
something like
it's just
that.
like those like
Sure.
dumb, absurd bits that aren't like that personal or
Yeah.
that observational.
Yeah.
I guess they are observational, but like, like I literally can never come up with stuff when I want to,
Yeah.
and then I'll come up with something over the course of a few weeks, and then I'll forget how I even came up with it,
I
and it
like-
becomes like my best joke, and I'm like, how the
Right.
hell did I come up with that?
I only
That I hate.
basically come up with stuff while driving.
Really?
Like
And I don't drive.
almost exclusively. Get a license.
I know. I have that.
And then you'll start writing while driving.
What's the age of driving in New Jersey? Isn't it like
So I got
maybe
my
like
license when
30?
I was 17.
Yeah.
seven? Okay, I don't know
think
why I thought it was so old there.
No, I think everywhere.
45.
California is the youngest. California is like 15 or 16.
Oh, okay.
Florida's
Oh,
16.
Florida's
Yeah,
16?
Florida's weird.
Ah.
Jersey and New York is permit 16, license 17.
Okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because like I mean, Florida's weird. Like you can have a boater's license when you're like fucking 5 there. Like
Really?
I had friends that have a boat when they were like 12 and they just drive around a
Wow.
lake.
Well, you can have a gun when you're like 15.
Yeah, it's the pass down thing's really funny. Where it's like if it's like
You can get
passed
passed
down to you,
down,
which
really?
makes no fucking sense.
Oh,
Because
That's
your
wow.
dad could
legendary.
just buy like an AR and just be like,
Yeah.
"Hey, pass down."
Huh.
But when do you guys sit down and write on paper?
No, I do notes.
I type.
Yeah.
I'm so intense about it. Yeah, like I'll do like a
But like, are you like, I have an idea in my head, let me go write about this, or are you sitting down with nothing trying to come up with something?
For me, it's like it comes and I just write it as it comes.
I do both. I try to spend 30 minutes just stream of conscious, and this doesn't always happen. I'll probably spend 15 minutes stream of conscious, and then the last half of my writing session, I'll try to do things I put in my notes, or try to punch up an old joke, or like try to like, because I just want to get the brain flowing first, and then I think the whole thing is I feel this pressure on me, and I feel like that's causing issues, and I need to like, it's like when you're trying to force yourself to pee or something. You know what I mean? It's like you gotta just. Yeah.
Also, how do you know? My thing is, I'll try to sit down and write something new, and it never happens. But then it's just like, because say you've been doing the same thing for a couple of weeks, and then it's just like, do you have any new shit? But then it's also like, well, how do I know that the other shit is perfected yet? And I'm like, well, should I be focusing on new shit when I have a joke that's like fine, but it's nothing amazing? You know what I mean?
Well,
Sorry,
I had this concept recently. I got a lot of fucking like 15, 20-second jokes.
Yeah, me too.
And a lot of times I go to them and I keep going to them and I can't get anything else out of them. I'm like, this is just where it is. I try every angle.
So you try to go and like make like a one or two joke into a more of a themed bit.
Yeah. And then I was talking to somebody about it and they go, why? And I was like, well, it's because everybody does that. And they go, yeah, but why? And I go, I don't know. Because I kind of thought about this recently. I was like, what about instead of having, some things I have a longer bit. I have 3-minute bits. I have 4-minute bits. But I'm like, what if I just had, I don't know, like if people do one-liners, why can't I have one observation about something and just throw that away? Like,
you can do
it's like that's like my whole act. It's like my longest joke is probably 90 seconds, maybe 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Or
but I'm like, if people could do one-liners, why can't I just say one funny thing about a topic and then be like, all right, who cares? Like, it doesn't matter. And I realized that recently. I was like, you can do whatever the fuck you want. That's fine.
Yes.
Or my thing is having multiple jokes that are short and then you put them into groups of what it's about, so you do say them when you're talking about that topic.
Sure.
So like I've been just writing about my girlfriend now and how we come from different backgrounds. So like I have like 6 or 7 jokes about her or her background, and they're all short jokes, but you put them all together, that's like 5 minutes of bit. That's a 5-minute chunk about
that's
that.
Good.
Yeah.
That's what I try to do. But most of my stuff is just like, I'll like say it, and then I'll move on to a completely different topic.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's one of those things too that, I think the pressure just doesn't help. And it's like, I got to just fucking, just think about, I'm doing this for a while, and whatever happens at whatever rate happens.
Yeah.
There's no,
well, I mean, for me, it's always better to have that kind of an attitude about it. Cause like, I mean, not like I'm such a workhorse, but like I'm pretty anxious. And I feel like the more that I'm able to like let go and like allow myself to actually have fun, the better.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I don't do well. I used to do the 8 Mile thing where I'd fucking have my thing up and I'd just be like, I'm
I
like,
thought you were going to take off another shirt.
No. I start saying that. I'm like, this isn't me. I just get completely naked. I'm like, this is me. This is me. I do want to have, I don't know if he'll do it. I'm going to have this. I found out the guy with the biggest penis lives in New York.
Oh, you told me this, yeah.
And I want to have him on the podcast. I wonder if he would do it totally naked.
Probably if he's that guy.
Yeah.
You probably have to pay
him,
him.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, I pay.
Wait, does he do porn?
No.
Oh, okay.
You told me about this. He got big. It got leaked on the internet.
I don't know how he got big. It was nature, but
no, I meant like that. People found out it was him. Was
yeah,
it like
I think
meme or something.
He like it's so funny. He's one of those guys. He'll show a limp picture of his penis, but he won't show a hard one. And he's like,
well, he's probably a shower, not a grower.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. And he's just like, it's this. He's like the self-proclaimed biggest penis, which you can't do. You can't like do that. But like, but if you see it, it looks fucking big. But it's like, yeah. I don't know what I was saying initially before I started talking about.
Who
this.
cares?
Yeah.
Now we're on that.
Yeah.
That's a classic Michael Good podcast. You got to have him on. Wait, have you ever reached out to him?
Yeah, he's like, I'll do the podcast. Yeah.
Oh,
so set it up.
Okay.
I love his Instagram. It's like average guy in most ways.
Oh,
And then
really?
it's just him.
That's my
Does he have a bunch
genre,
of
by the
followers?
way, is like people that I follow on Instagram, and I do not know why.
Yeah.
Like, because, okay, so he seems fun.
Yeah.
I would follow him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But also, there is a guy who has the same name as a comedy club booker. And a few years ago, I, in a moment of ambition, was like, I should follow this comedy club booker, Jared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then there was another Jared who had the exact same name. And I followed that Jared. And then that Jared, I'm like, he does say he does comedy, but like it's kind of weird comedy and it's more clowning. And now he's joined a cult and like he's moving. And he would do lives because he was in a cult.
Oh,
and like,
there we go.
you know, like
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's like one other person is on the live and he wants you to come in and do like a FaceTime and sell you his cult or whatever. And it was like me, and I would never do the live with him. But I also was like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah,
Jared, right?
It's too good.
Yeah. And like, it's like, I love him.
Yeah.
And I have been concerned for him. I've never like reached out, but the moment that I was concerned for him, he showed this picture of his back and, you know, cupping.
Yeah.
Okay. But it wasn't that. It looked like cupping, but with blood.
Ooh.
And it turned out that his cult was doing like a frog poison extraction thing. And I'm like Googling this thing and seeing the horror cases and like, you know, all.
Yeah.
And I was like, he might.
Was he getting
die.
high? Was it the Colorado River toad?
I don't know.
Also known as the Sonora Desert toad.
I don't remember.
Okay.
Something with
How
a
do you know this
G?
much about toads but not orangutans?
I know. Oh no, I know everything about orangutans.
Really?
But I
That's
corrected
so
you on
like
that.
toddler.
Wait,
of
this
you.
guy's
Yeah,
doing
oh, yeah.
frog sucking venomous
Yeah,
crap.
it
So
was
is it illegal?
What was it
think
saying? Is he
it's
getting
probably-
high
Did you
from
call
it?
the
I don't
police
know.
on him?
I don't know.
'Cause
It's
they-
like supposed to cleanse you. Allegedly.
Who is he? Just some
Okay.
random guy? Does he? Or is
well,
he like a comedian?
kind of, because I thought he was this other guy.
But does he have a bunch of followers and like a following and like a career or
no,
something?
he's got like a few hundred. But I was like, okay, I'm in
Did
the
you call the
club.
cops on him
No,
for the frog thing?
no, because he
Wait,
was
how
having
could you-
it done to him.
Yeah. You can't call the cops on somebody for having.
Oh, I thought you were saying that you have to get that done to join the cult.
Oh, I don't know, but he was just like, hey, I did this.
Yeah.
Freak.
From my cult, like hashtag my cult or whatever it was. But like that was probably like the more surprising end of a thing that he would do,
Sure.
Yeah.
but not entirely out of the scope of normal
Mhm.
for him.
Well, I mean, like, look, no matter how many movie characters, TV shows, I'm almost done with fucking
Yeah.
television. And following
Yeah.
individuals on
I
Instagram is
know.
so much better. Like,
Totally.
there was what was it? I mean, I saw a great nobody liked the halftime show, really.
I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I mean, well, the
Yeah.
thing is, he's a good lyricist. It's like having Bob Dylan do the
Sure.
halftime show. He's not a good performer,
Okay.
but Alex Jones had like loved it, and he was
Okay.
on Instagram or Twitter, and he's just like, "They not like us." He's talking about the globalists calling out Hollywood pedophiles. He's like, "This is," and he dressed like Ash from Pokemon,
Yeah, he was.
who's catching Pokemon. Kendrick's catching the pedophiles. He's the pedophile
my
catcher. And it's just
God.
this
Well,
crazy
didn't
thing.
he
and I'm
call
like,
Drake out like on live on it?
Yeah,
And said
yeah,
his
yeah.
name and stuff. That's what everyone was talking about.
right, but it was just so funny because I was like, everybody hated the halftime show besides Alex Jones. And it was just a
Yeah.
funny thing. But it's like, there's so many people on the internet that I'm like, they're so interesting. Like the Andy Elliott. He's this what do you call them? Grind set people where they're like,
Oh yeah.
he runs a car company and everybody has to have abs that works for him. He's like the most intense. He's like,
Oh, like people who get up at like 4 a.m.
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
His
Huberman.
But it's fake, right?
yes.
Okay.
No. He is 100% real. The veins in his head are like
Ugh,
exploding.
I can't do veins. I
Yeah.
cannot do veins
It's a good special.
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah, my favorite one he has one where he's just at a bar and somebody's like talking to him, but he doesn't really drink. He's one of those guys like, if you're just drinks, they're fucking losers. You cut them people out of your fucking life.
But my
Yeah.
thing is, if you're filming all this for social media, it's like a bit. It's not like you're like that in real life.
No, this guy, he is a.
You can't require someone to have abs to work for you. I guess you could if it's your own private business, but like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, it's just what he says, and you find out the whole story is that in 7th grade, his girlfriend like left him for a guy with abs. So it all comes.
Yeah.
You follow the story
It's
deeper.
nice to have the childhood trauma.
Yeah, totally.
And like
yeah.
to know what
What
it
a
is. I
freak.
enjoy knowing that. But also I love the idea of like, is his name Andy?
Andy Elliott.
That
yeah.
like him and his friends, whether on a podcast or just like on the couch, he's like, but my stage persona is like not exactly me. Or
yeah. Him being like, look, that's it's like
Yeah.
a different thing. Yeah.
fucking two
But
first names.
I mean,
freak.
his kids are so fucked. Could you
got
imagine
kids?
that being
Do
your
they have
dad?
abs?
Hopefully, they better get them, or they're fucked. Yeah.
Totally.
Insane.
But it's so funny. He has one where like my favorite is they're interviewing him at a bar. He goes, "Yeah, you work for me." He's like, you better not be a fucking pussy. He goes, by the way, he sells cars.
Yeah.
He goes, you're gonna be throwing up the first day. And it's like,
Oh my
at what
God.
point of selling cars would you be throwing up?
Right.
That's my point why it's probably a bit. If he has a bunch of followers, he's probably getting brand deals. He's not worried about selling cars.
Well, what he does now is he has like a mentorship program that's like
Oh.
thousands
Yeah,
of
yeah.
dollars. And you
Sure.
And idiots sign up for that crap. That's like the alpha, beta, the blue pill, red pill guy things, and all the incel kids will sign up for it so they can learn how to get
Oh.
you
laid.
talking about the prestigious what is it? The Hustlers Academy from Andrew Tate?
Well, that's an example,
Oh.
but like that
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah.
section of the internet where it's like,
Right.
buy my $1,000 course and I'll teach you how to
Sure.
get laid tomorrow. Like,
Right,
that
right,
kind of a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really wish I don't have the courage to pull off bits like
Mm-hmm.
in person as much as I really for Thanksgiving I wanted to go home and tell everybody I quit stand up. I'm an entrepreneur and I just graduated from Andrew Tate's Hustler Academy.
Ah,
I
And
can
then
see
just
you doing
I just
that.
like sell it, but like I can't. I would start giggling too. Like I'm
could
so
do
bad at.
videos
gotta commit.
of that.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
thought
you've
about.
been doing those filtered ones where you'll do like movie reviews. It's the same thing.
I want to do this. It's gonna ruin it for the
Yeah.
jokes, but I want to do one of those like grind set like videos of me like doing that stuff. Like where it's just all about this. Like it's me like in the gym and it's
Yeah.
kind of cutting me to me like
Sure.
smoking cigars on a boat. To
Right.
me like shaking hands with a bunch of like Arabian businessmen because like it
Uh-huh.
would just be so out of context for me.
Yeah.
Like like I'm doing oil deals or something like that. Just
Yeah.
something like that. People are like,
Totally.
"What is he doing?"
Yeah, I could see you doing that.
But
That's good.
I like bits like that where like some of my like I've had some bits online where people
Yeah.
check in on me, which is
Oh,
good for me
Really?
because I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this shows that it's like it's
Getting out there.
but it's that
Yeah.
perfect in between where like obviously I'm kidding,
Right.
but the occasional person like you don't
Yeah.
you want it to be like I feel like the answer is you want it to be like I think he's kidding with some of that
Right.
stuff.
I had
Yeah.
one of those very early on in stand up. I had started stand up in spring of 2013 and maybe like, a couple months later I was like I'm going to need to do an hour. And I wrote an hour show called A One Woman Wedding where I married myself on what would have been the 1-year anniversary of the civil union because they had those at the time that I had canceled. And in order to promote it, among other things, I changed my relationship status on Facebook to engaged.
Right.
And everybody, like my best friend from childhood was like, you have to change that.
yeah.
Everyone's like, who is
Yeah.
she engaged to? And I
Yeah.
was like, no, me.
Yeah.
Engaged to me. That's
Yeah.
the whole point.
That's a joke, yeah.
And I sort of like really, I mean, we were talking, I feel like around this throughout this hour where it's like, there was such a self-confidence that I had at that very, very early stage of stand-up where I was just like, no, I am. I'm engaged to myself. That's the whole point of the show.
Yeah.
I have to commit to this bit. If I can't commit to it, then I'm not like all in
totally,
in this life. And it's like, in some ways that's crazy. And in other ways, it's kind of the way to be.
Totally. No.
You know?
I agree 100%. Yeah, you got to
Yeah.
go all in and like
Right.
I think what's kind of taking people slightly away from that is maybe the internet. Maybe that's gotten
Yeah.
our brains where we're like, oh, this would be confusing, or people think I'm unprofessional if I did
sure.
this. But it's way funnier. Like, Joe
Yeah.
Gorman?
Do I?
Do you know Joe Gorman?
Do I? I don't know.
Oh, well,
I literally don't know if I know a single person.
okay. I don't know. I thought.
Every do you know is like a setup.
Okay.
I feel like I'm being held up. I have no idea.
Okay.
Possibly I know this person, and if I do, he's great.
He's a
Okay.
wild
Sounds
boy.
like a man.
Okay, he is a
And
white
I-
supremacist. No, I'm just
Are you going to talk about the clip he posted from the podcast the other day with him?
no.
That's
Wait, I'll
Hilarious.
look him up. I probably know him.
Well, this is his thing. He
great hair.
he goes on Instagram and says he has a kid. He
Okay.
at shows he'll be like, yeah, I left my kids at home to do this set, and like
Okay.
just doesn't have kids.
Oh.
He's always lying.
Oh,
Like he
interesting.
did this bit on my podcast where he's getting serious. He's talking about he was like beat by his parents, and we're like really like
Oh,
we're getting really
God.
emotional and stuff like that.
Sure.
And then he's talking about how his dad would like put hot pennies on his tongue. Then his
Okay.
dad's like tying him to a trailer and driving the other way, like an old
Right.
style. Then his dad's like cutting his arms off with sword. And like, but at the beginning you think he's serious, and then you're like, this guy is so I have no idea what's real and what's fake.
Wow.
But it's hilarious because
I
I'm like,
do know him actually. No,
yeah. But it's such a funny thing to like have that level. Like, yeah, I don't know. It'd be funny if I like told everybody I had a kid.
Right.
He like multiple people like think he has a kid. He just
Wow.
doesn't. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah. But I do feel bad to cut this off. But we're
No,
we're
no.
over an hour. So what do you guys
Okay.
want to promote?
I don't know. I'm gonna release a special soon, so I'm Liz Glazer, and you can check my YouTube for that.
Awesome. Thank you so much for coming
Oh
on.
my god,
Appreciate
thank
it.
you.
Check my YouTube too, Tom Zappia, Instagram.
Will you put my
Thanks, buddy.
special on your YouTube?
I probably have less subscribers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be
Wait,
funny?
did you tape it yet?
Well, yeah, I did it already. Yeah.
Oh, duh! I remember this
Yeah, yeah,
at
yeah.
SoPac.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I was like, what
Yeah.
the hell?
Yeah.
Wait, so what we're off there, obviously, but what's the update?
No. I gotta. We're
Oh,
not.
sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, bye.